Welcome everyone, this is Frank DIMORA at the End Times Research Ministry, giving you some updates on Bible prophecy and current events. I'm going to get right into it. Matthew chapter 24 verse 9 and Revelation chapter 6 verse 9 warn about in the last days Christian persecution. And if you haven't been watching the news, you probably don't have a clue what's going on, especially in the Middle East. But the attacks on the Christians are definitely increasing, and I want to share the newest report that just came out. And you see the headline here: the Sri Lanka rebels kill many in the Bengaluru church attack. There's a video there, and I'll just let the video give us the news.
At least 11 people have been killed in an attack on a church in the Central African Republic. Eyewitnesses said members of the Seleka militia group threw grenades before shooting indiscriminately at the Church of Fatima in the capital Bangui. The mostly Muslim Seleka rebels have been involved in heavy fighting with mainly Christian fighters in the anti-Balaka militia since March 2013. The conflict has displaced about 25% of Khar's 4.6 million population. The attack on the church followed hours of fighting in the PK5 neighborhood of Bangui. Eyewitnesses said those inside the Catholic Church were seeking shelter from the clashes. The priest of the church, Jonas Bickers, told Reuters that the death toll would probably rise because there were so many wounded. It would have been much worse if the anti-Balaka militia had not come to defend us, he said. Reprisals fear it is the worst attack on Christians in the country since the Seleka rebels were ousted from power in January 2014.
So there you have it, just another one of many reports showing us our brothers and our sisters are being attacked in many places around the world. And again, this is happening at the same time all of the prophecies that the Lord told us to watch for are taking place. Now let me move on to another one. In the book of Revelation, we see the Lord talk to us about the last days and what's going to happen during the tribulation period. And the Lord says this in Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 and 6. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures say, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." Now, what we do know is that in the last days, people are going to have to work all day long for one small meal. And here we see the Lord talking about wheat. And so I'm going to cover this portion of the news that just came in, because in my book I give you countless reports showing what's going on with the increase in food around the world. And a lot of those reports have to deal with wheat and maize, which is mostly consumed by the poor nations. So let's go to the article. Now, this news from the AFP just came out just a few hours ago. The World Bank sounds alarm on the rising global food prices. It says world food prices rose in the first quarter of the year for the first time since their all-time high in August of 2012, driven by rising demand in China, drought in the United States, and unrest in Ukraine. Now keep in mind, the Lord references heat, intense heat, lack of water, famines in Matthew chapter 24, in Luke chapter 21, and Mark chapter 13. And so the signs that we're seeing here are also signs that the Lord wanted us to keep in mind. And we see the conflict that's going on. And of course, in those same chapters that I just mentioned to you, he talks about, in reference to the Lord now, he talks about watching the sign of wars, rumors of wars. And we know nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And we know Ukraine is one of the last nations that we've been witnessing fighting against themselves. Now, according to the World Bank, internationally traded food prices increased by a sharp 4.0%. Now, the leap was led by the wheat. Here we go, like I said, a lot of the articles that I've been reading, it references the wheat. So the wheat and the maize up 18% and 12% respectively. As a result, international food prices in April were only 2.0% lower than a year ago and 16% below their record level in August 2012, the bank quarterly food price report said. Increasing weather concerns and import demand, and arguably a lesser extent uncertainty associated with the Ukraine situation, explain most of the price increases, the report said. Now keep in mind, I've been warning about the weather conditions, watching what's going to happen to the crops, and they do have the crazy weather we've been seeing does definitely take a toll on the crops. Now, World Bank economists said prices increased despite bumper crops in 2013, and that's exactly what I've been warning about. You can do a Google search on Frank DIMORA, warning that the food was going to increase continuously, and so that helps show that what I'm saying in reference to Bible prophecy is actually the truth. And my truth comes right from Christ. I'm just telling you what the Lord said to watch for, and I'm showing you where it's happening. And moving on, and continued projections of record gain harvest and stronger stocks expected in 2014. And it's just as I said, more increases in the price of food. And look I don't like reporting this kind of information any more than you do, because I have to reach into my pocket to buy the food as well, and it really hurts everybody. Now, persistently dry conditions in the United States and strong global demand, particularly from China, partly explain the price rises. Now, Ukraine has role. Now, get this, because you're going to find out a very, very important role in wheat. But Ukraine, the breadbasket of the Eastern Europe, played a part, posting the largest domestic price increases for, there you go, wheat and maize. Now, Ukraine, the world's sixth largest wheat exporter, saw domestic wheat prices jump 37%, driven in part by currency depreciation. Now, overall, the international wheat prices soared by 18% quarter over quarter, and such a steep price increase had not occurred since the months leading to the historical peak in the summer of 2012, the report said. The international maize prices rose by 12%, with Ukraine, the third largest exporter of maize, experiencing a 73% rise in domestic prices because of delayed planting and increasing costs. So delayed planting is because of what's been going on with the weather. So we see a lot of information here talking about the same things that the Lord had warned us about, and that was going to be a food crisis that was going to be coming in the last days. And we're continuously seeing year after year the food prices go up. Now, if you want more information about this, please go over to my book and read the section in chapter 5, and you can get all the information. Again, go to my website. You'll see it right there. And feel free to click the link when you get there for my book, The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, where you'll find all the documentation proving that we are in the last days. And you need to begin to pay attention to the signs that Jesus told us to look for, because they're all around you and you probably don't even realize it. God bless.